Hello, it's Joe with Wartilyo, and welcome to the first installment of the Wartilyo Meta Report, where we focus on the competitive Warhammer AOS events happening in the Philippines, what the top winning lists were, and lists that I personally find interesting. And today we are going to be tackling the Genesis of Glory RTT that happened last weekend on August 25 in the SMX Convention Center. Here it is. This is what this place looked like. They were playing right in front of Funko Pops. We have Harry Potter in the background. That's amazing. And of course, we have the reclusion here. And then these are the prizes, certificates, and also buttons that the tournament organizers gave to everyone. And these are the players. Here they are, just enjoying and having fun before they get into the meat of things here in this tournament. Definitely big shout outs to the tournament organizers for this event, Risa and Josh. You guys are amazing. The event was amazing. But without further ado, let's jump into the list. And the one who took it all was BJ Ratio with Nighthaunt. So with Nighthaunt ravaging the meta lately, no wonder that Nighthaunt would perform very well. And the other lists in this event were a lot of big monsters, which famously doesn't do that well into Nighthaunt because they don't just have the volume of dice lying around. So here we have BJ's list. It's a kind of a deviation from the usual Nighthaunt list. And then you can see he's taking reinforced Grimghast Reapers there, and then also reinforced Mirrormorn Banshees. So let's start first from the top. Spell lore, lore of the underworlds, manifestation lore, morbid conjuration. That just makes a lot of sense. You have Lady Olinder and Reikonor being multiple casters if they want to. Really just maximizing one of the best manifestation lores out there. With the -1 to save, also with the Purple Sun. Just really doubling down on the debuffs that Nighthaunt can give you will always pay more dividends to them. Um, Next up, we have the Karen Wraith. So the Karen Wraith is there to sort of buff up the Grimghast Reapers, give them an extra attack, which is pretty needed. They have the worst profile out of the three infantry that Nighthaunt has. Well, kind of, but it's fours and threes, rend 1/1 damage. So it's not as impressive as Blade Guy's Revenant, so you want to buff up and maximize them as much as possible. But then right below the Cairn Wraith are the one reinforced unit of Graventhorn Guard, which is crossbows, and then one unit of reinforced Hex Wraiths. So this kind of gives BJ a little bit more options when it comes to the deployment phase onto who he wants to put priority target on. If he wants to alpha strike, perhaps he can priority target the hex rates, or if he wants to play a bit more of the long game, the crossbows are always there to receive a priority target relatively well. So it becomes threes and twos. That's just really good. Two attacks each, it just shreds. And then we have here the Dreadblade Harrows. He has two MSU units of Dreadblade Harrows. So the way this list works is that with two drops, he's pretty competitive when it comes to drops. So if he gets priority, what he would usually do is that he would put the Dreadblade Harrows up at the front during his movement phase, so that it just um, neuters everyone else's movement phase during the opponent's turn. So top of the turn, he teleports the Dreadblade Harrows because they have an ability to teleport in any movement phase for whatever reason. So they put the Dreadblade Harrows in front, right in front of your units, and then during your movement phase, of course, you have to account to be 3 inches away of them, and then they just teleport back during your movement phase, which is crazy. But that is the list. That is the tech that he's sort of bringing with this list. So very strong. He got very strong wins against two Stormcast Eternals, two Stormcast Eternals representatives here in the tournament, and then against Attorney Chris with the Ogre Mod Tribes. Very good list. I'm personally a big fan of it. And of course, Nighthaunt is very strong, so you can't blame him for bringing really just like one of the strongest options in the game right now, especially in early AOS 4. But whether this how you sort of fight against this list is you really just try to deal mortal damage if you have any. Um, Nighthaunt is still very weak to mortal wounds. Nighthaunt is still very weak to shooting and the volume of attacks. So those are the ones. So Chaos Chosen are pretty good in the Nighthaunt. Kurnoth Hunters with swords, anything that has crit mortals that also have volume is really good against Nighthaunt. Um, and then, but you know, if ever you find yourself having difficulties dealing with Nighthaunt, don't worry because literally everyone is. So that's the list. Congratulations to BJ for taking first. Well deserved. This is an amazing list. It's a lot more techy than the usual Nighthaunt list, which I really appreciate. But with that being said, speaking of pretty straightforward lists, this list is amazing. I love this list. This is the second placer. We have Enzo Evangelista, the prodigy that he is, brought 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 24 Agrodon Lancers, if my math is correct. Just an absurd amount of Agrodon Lancers. But at first, you just think that, it's putting all eggs in one basket. But in reality, this list just has a lot going for it. And he doesn't even have manifestations. You don't need it because your one cast is your King Star Priest. And the one of the spells that you know from the lore celestial manipulation is the speed of Wanchi, right? Run and charge. And then what you do in the, I believe it's the deployment phase or whatever, just before like your hero phase, I think, he picks the asterism because Seraphon right now picks from a list of buffs to apply to their entire army or to some things or to some units in their army. And then he picks the one that gives him +2 to move. And then you have the Sword of Scarvet on Agrodon that also has the Beastmaster heroic trait, which means it adds another +2 to move. So what you're staring down on when you're facing this list are Agrodon Lancers that are 9 inches away from your screens or from your units or whatever. You're facing Agrodon Lancers with 10 move, +2 from the Asterism, +2 from Beastmaster, and one of them possibly has Run and Charge because the only job of this King Star Priest is to cast Speed of Wanchi. And then the King Star Priest also has Serpent Staff that gives crit auto wounds to weapon attacks. So this is unstoppable force. This is like torpedoing Agadon Lancers straight through the board, and I imagine that's how Enzo's games went. And not a lot of people, especially if you are not that used to this type of list, not a lot of people have answers to it, and not a lot of people know how to play against it. How you would play against it is it's 2 drops, so it's still technically doable to sort of outdrop him by either winning the roll off, or if you lose the drops, or if you lose the priority, what you do is that you break your regiment immediately and deploy everything either as far back as you can, or yeah, just deploy everything as far back as you can. Again, your mileage may vary on this because it'll, of course, everything is dependent on what your army is and what your army does. And you also have to play around the Agrodon Lancers. The biggest tip that I might have is taking them out one by one. He doesn't have a Slan Star Master, so he might have difficulties in recursion. The thing is, one dead Agrodon Lancer is pretty big because it's just impossible to rally, or not impossible, but like highly unlikely to rally the Agrodon Lancers. Really, just take out one reinforced unit of Agrodon Lancers. One at a time, and then just pray that the rest aren't countercharging on you. And then you also want to play around them in such a way that you don't want to end combat with them, because that just gives them another attack on the profile that hurts the mount attacks, right? So you really have to sort of know how to play your way around this list because he has one. If you're trying to approach this in a normal, as if this is like a normal list, no, this is a very specialized list. You have to learn how to play against it. I recommend, the things that I recommended, and then, let's see, your mileage may vary depending on your army. Check your faction packs. You might have an answer to this. It's also kind of weak to screening. It's pretty weak to screening. If you have a good screen that he has to pour more than one reinforced unit of Agrodon Lancers to, anything that can like like Nighthaunt or something that can deal with the first Alpha Strike, like having ethereal 4-up saves, I suppose, is relatively big. But yeah, screening is also very important here. So so when you're fighting against this list, it's an exercise in screening and as well as back deployment or just deployment in general. Third list is Dennis David, Sons of Behemat. Dennis is a vet. He is taking Sons of Behemat, the Taker tribe. I love the Taker tribe personally. It's such a toolbox. It's really good. Because not only do you get to choose what artifact, but if you choose the one that gives you a spell, a wizard, it gives you a manifestation lore. So it's a really good toolbox army. If you learn how, if you really know how to pilot it, you can really try to deal with different situations as much as possible. Really trying to gain as much efficiency as possible with the little amount of models and units you have, right? So you have three Mega Gargants, one Man Crusher Gargant, and surprisingly, one unit of Man Crusher Mob. I don't know what Dennis's mileage is with the Man Crusher Mob, but like I've yet to ask him. But really, this is just Sons of Behemoth didn't necessarily change that much when it came to fourth edition. However, um, they still have a bunch of rampages that are like available to them that they can use. And again, it's really with the Taker tribe, it really just like emphasizes how much of a toolbox army this is. You have a lot of options even though you only have a few models, and really it is up to the player in order to sort of um maximize that sort of toolboxiness of the army. But yeah, take shot every time I said toolbox. Anyway, so that's the list. So that's a loss on the Stormcast Eternals list that I will actually feature in a bit, and then a win on Chris with Slaves of Darkness, and B over the Ossiarch Born Reapers. Congratulations. I haven't said congrats yet, but congratulations to Enzo for getting second. If you guys don't know, Enzo is like a prodigy. He's the son of Sir Jerome, who will feature later. But you'll see him later. He is always a joy to play with. Have had the pleasure to play against him multiple times. And seeing him place second, it's I'd like to say that I expected it, because his list is strong and also he's a strong player, right? But still, someone as young as him placing this high is very much something to be celebrated with. Celebrate. And then Dennis getting third. Congrats also. Love to see the Sons of Behemat. We'll see the armies later. That's another cheat that I'll show you guys later. But anyway, this is my favorite list. I call this an Avengers Assembled list. In fairness, there was another list that Slaves of Darkness that had Abraxia, Archeon, and 6 Farangard, I think, and then a Chaos Sorcerer Lord. But and then this as well is kind of the same. You have Krondys, you have Karza, you have Ionis, and Andrasta. Like this is Avengers Assembled type like list building, and I absolutely love it. You so and then one of the things, I mean, Karazai, of course, the melee one, the melee dragon, Krondys, the spellcasting dragon, very strong, especially when it comes to this edition with the manifestation lores. We have the primal energy coming from Surge of Rome, so the primal energy gives the Ravanax Gnashing Jaws, as well as the Emerald Life Swarm that gives a lot of heals. So this list is actually very much based on a lot of healing, because he also has the Night Vexilor. The Night Vexilor can give a D3 heal, right, during the hero phase. And then he is also pretty tanky himself with the artifacts and heroics that he has. Of course, this list will struggle against Nighthaunt, so that's where his round 2 loss came from. But this was this is an absolute treat of a list, and I wish I would have seen it over the table myself. But that's it. And here are some of the pictures from the event, the players that were there. Here we have Enzo on the right with the absurd amount of Agadon Lancers. We have Danila with the Scarbrand, bringing out the Scarbrand, bringing out the Blood Letters. Amazing, amazing. We have Chris with the Archie and Friends list. I really love this list. Again, very Avengers Assemble. Just like all of the name stuff. Just put them out there. Uh, and then here we have BJ, a tournament winner here in the left, with the Horde of Nighthaunt. We have Attorney Chris that's here, with the Dad Bod squads. Absolutely love seeing this amount of ogres on the table. That is definitely, look at those meaty boys. Gonna be hard to chew through them. We have Pio with Oh My Nagash here. So here we got the Nagash, reinforced Morghast. He had two MSU units of Death Riders, and a Immortus Guard. So, you know, just Leroy Jenkins, Morghast Archive reinforced, just charging in, and if they die, Nagash just brings it back. Those are the lists. You have Dennis with the amazingly painted Attack on Titan themes, Sons of Behemat army. Here we have his manifestations. I think he might have used Primal more than others, which is fair. With the Sons of Behemat, and then we have Sir Jerome himself with his list of Indrasta, Krondys, Karazai, and Ionis, and the Knights of Exilord. That's also there. But yeah, that's it for this Wartilyo Meta Report. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any feedback, please don't hesitate to comment down below. Please like and subscribe if you want to watch more of these. See, it's the first episode, so I'm still getting the jitters, but I won't promise that after a few episodes I'll get a bit more confident. But that is it for today. There are going to be so many tournaments happening and I committed to this, so I hope that you guys will stick with me and watch how the Philippine meta develops. It's going to be so interesting seeing how other people react to to this tournament, and because there are so many more tournaments coming up, you know, it really is just like a wonder on which player will be the one to stand on top and which type of army will stand on top. Because right now we have Nighthaunt that's sort of strong, and BJ had been playing Nighthaunt even in third edition when, you know, they weren't, you know, the best, they weren't meta. But now that it is meta, he's learning how to play it, and then now look at he got his first tournament win. Enzo, who is, you know, the youngest player of that I know of that plays Warhammer Age of Sigmar and still manages to get second. That is very scary, but also very encouraging. So all of these storylines I will hope to cover, and all of these lists I will hope to talk about in the next episode of the Wartilyo Meta Report. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.